The Galactic Council's enormous communication network, a web of quantum relays and star-spanning data streams, buzzed with unusual activity. In a matter of seconds, every transmission was hijacked by a single source. The signal came from Earth. It was unmistakable, raw, unfiltered, and utterly human. Across the galaxy, billions of species froze, their eyes locked on the holographic projection of Earth's capital, New Washington City. On the gleaming stage stood President Renna. Cole, her expression calm but unyielding. The room behind her was empty, save for the flags of humanity. This was not the usual diplomatic entourage. This was a message of war. Galactic Council, hear this. Cole's voice echoed with a cold precision. For centuries, humanity played by your rules. We accepted your treaties, your limitations, your condescension. No longer. Earth hereby declares its sovereignty absolute. We will no longer tolerate interference, oppression, or containment. This is your final warning. Cease all actions against humanity, or face total and irrevocable destruction. The audience gasped. Murmurs rippled through alien assemblies. A Zentari ambassador scoffed, the sound like gravel in an ancient engine. Empty threats from a backwater planet, he sneered. They do not possess the strength to follow through. President Cole's lips curled into a faint, knowing smile. Judge for yourselves. Suddenly, the screen shifted. The view panned out from Earth's surface to a vast orbital platform in the asteroid belt near Saturn. There, a sleek human spacecraft launched a massive cylindrical object, seemingly inert, toward a massive asteroid. Seconds later, the cylinder detonated. The asteroid shattered with the force of a small supernova, sending fragments hurtling across the void. The silence that followed was deafening. This, Cole said, is Earth's new defense doctrine. Surgical, overwhelming, and unforgiving. No more holding back. No more playing nice. Back on the Galactic Council's homeworld, Elysium Prime, panic spread like wildfire. The Council's leader, Supreme Chancellor Velcor, clenched his fists as aides scrambled to formulate a response. Deploy the Armada, Velcor ordered. We will remind Earth who rules this galaxy. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, Admiral Sarah Miles stared at the final transmission from Earth's command center aboard the UES Vengeance. Her dark eyes glinted with fierce pride as she prepared the fleet. Status report, she demanded. Cloaking arrays operational. Weapon systems online. Drones primed for deployment, her tactical officer replied. Miles nodded. This is it. For too long, Earth has been the galaxy's punching bag. Today we show them our strength. In the corridors of the Vengeance, Captain June Halvard checked. Her gear. Her squad had been selected for a mission unlike any before. A covert strike on the Galactic Registry to erase the constraints shackling humanity's technological progress. This isn't just war, June said, voice low but steady. It's liberation. She glanced at a hollow image of the Registry's fortress, a massive floating citadel guarded by dozens of warships. The odds were against them, but failure was not an option. Back on the Council's Armada flagship, the Nemesis, Council Admiral Trelzan studied the Earth fleet's movements. They are too calm, he muttered, like predators waiting to strike. Suddenly his screen flickered. A shadow moved inside the bridge, an alien assassin in Council uniform. Before anyone could react, the assassin lunged at the Council's commanding officer. The room erupted in chaos. As Earth's ships slipped through cloaked corridors near Mars, silent drones detached from their carriers. These tiny war machines infiltrated Council ships undetected, sabotaging engines, hacking systems, and disabling weapons. No alarm sounded until the ships drifted powerless in orbit. Admiral Miles's voice cut through the comm channels. Remember, we don't just fight with firepower, we fight with precision and intelligence. Every Council ship disabled without a single human casualty is a victory for humanity. Back on Elysium Prime, the Council convened an emergency session. Velcor's eyes burned with fury. Earth's weapons are no longer primitive, he snarled. They have crossed a line. This is not a warning anymore. It's a declaration of war. Meanwhile, President Cole stood in her chambers, watching reports flood in, ships falling silent, colonies rising in support. The galaxy's power balance was shifting. She whispered to herself, "We warned them. No more holding back. No more playing nice." And somewhere in the shadowed corridors of the Nemesis, the alien assassin's blade gleamed, ready to ignite the war that would reshape the stars. The vast armada of the Galactic Council hovered at the edge of the solar system, a shimmering fleet of warships the size of cities. Their massive forms blotted out distant stars as they advanced on Earth's inner planets, weapons primed, engines humming with lethal intent. The Council's grand plan was simple: crush humanity's defiance before it could spread. Admiral Trelzan stood on the bridge of the Nemesis, his dark eyes fixed on the flickering hologram of Earth's orbital grid. "Prepare to engage," he ordered, voice cold as the void. "Show them that rebellion is a luxury they cannot afford." The Council, ships surged forward, breaking the silence with volleys of plasma beams and missile swarms aimed at Earth's defenses. But as the first weapons fired, something strange happened. The sensors aboard the Council ships flickered, then failed. "Report!" Trelzan barked, his hand gripping the console. "All sensor arrays offline," his tactical officer replied, panic rising in his voice. "Enemy ships vanished from all scans." The fleet commander slammed his fist against the console. "Impossible. They can't just disappear." Yet, cloaked vessels moved like shadows between asteroids and debris fields. Earth's fleet had mastered stealth technology beyond anything the Council had seen. Hundreds of small, fast warships slipped past the Council's main lines, striking with lethal precision. On the bridge of the UES Vengeance, Admiral Sarah Miles watched the Council fleet falter with a cold smile. "Deploy the silent drones," she ordered. Tiny, spider-like war machines detached from Earth's warships, slipping through airlocks and docking ports on the enemy vessels. These drones were AI-guided assassins, capable of bypassing electronic defenses and infiltrating enemy ships unseen. Once inside, they hacked navigation systems, sabotaged weapon arrays, and severed power conduits. On board the Nemesis, alarms blared suddenly. The ship's massive engines shuddered and died. The main weapon system powered down, leaving the flagship helpless. "Damage report," Trelzan demanded. "Multiple system failures, unidentified sabotage," his officer stammered. "We're drifting." Meanwhile, on another Council cruiser, Captain Joran of the Jal race watched in horror as his ship's shields collapsed. "How are they doing this?" he whispered. His communications officer's eyes widened. "Sir, we're detecting drones. Inside the hull? They're cutting life support and disabling critical systems." Joran grabbed his weapon and led a desperate counter-assault to hunt the invaders. But Earth's drones were ruthless. Tiny explosions erupted throughout the ship and crew members vanished without a trace. Back on the Vengeance, Admiral Miles coordinated her fleet with clinical precision. "Focus on disabling without destruction," she commanded. "We want to end this without casualties. Let them know Earth fights with honor but with unyielding resolve." Her tactical officer nodded. "Enemy ships are going dark one by one, sir. Communications are lost across the fleet." Far from the front line, Captain June Halvard's squad prepared for their mission aboard a stealth shuttle. Their objective: infiltrate the Galactic Registry's data fortress and erase humanity's restrictions on technology development. An act that would shake the very foundations of galactic order. June's jaw tightened. We're the ghosts in their machine. No mistakes, no mercy. Back on the Nemesis, chaos had turned to outright panic. The Council Admiral's uniform was stained with sweat as he struggled to maintain control. "Send reinforcements," he shouted. "Seal all airlocks, hunt down those drones." But the drone attacks were coordinated too well. Council ships turned on each other as hacking efforts scrambled their command protocols. Suddenly, the flagship Nemesis fired upon the Sovereign, an ally vessel, mistaking it for an enemy. The battle devolved into confusion and mistrust. Meanwhile, somewhere deep in the Nemesis's engine bay, the alien assassin from the previous broadcast moved silently. His target was clear: the Council's commanding officer. Blade drawn, he stalked through corridors thick with smoke and chaos. Suddenly, a voice crackled in his earpiece. Target acquired. Proceed. He nodded grimly and slipped into the bridge. On the bridge, Admiral Trelzan spun at the assassin's sudden appearance. "You traitor!" Before anyone could react, the assassin's blade flashed. Trelzan stumbled, clutching his side as blood seeped through his uniform. "Your reign is over," the assassin hissed before disappearing into the chaos. Back in orbit around Mars, Earth's fleet regrouped. Miles activated a holographic display, showing the Council's shattered formations. "They expected us to be weak," she said. "But they forgot one thing. Earth fights smarter and harder than any enemy." In the Council's war room on Elysium Prime, Supreme Chancellor Velkor's fury was unmatched. Their technology, our own weapons, used against us. This changes everything. An aide approached cautiously. "Chancellor, we must reconsider. This may not be a simple conflict. Humanity has become a force beyond our control." Velkor's eyes narrowed. "Then we will unleash everything we have. No mercy, no negotiations." Meanwhile, President Cole stood in Earth's war chamber, watching the destruction of the Council fleet unfold in real time. She turned to her advisors. "This is just the beginning," she said softly. "We warned them. Now, we show them what it means when Earth refuses to be a victim." As silent war drones continued their deadly dance through the void, a new era of galactic warfare had begun, one where Earth no longer hid in the shadows, but struck with unstoppable force. The Galactic Registry hung like a dark jewel in the void, an immense fortress of steel and plasma, orbiting the lifeless world of Cerulia 5. Its walls were lined with data cores containing centuries of laws, treaties, and restrictions imposed on countless species. Among these was humanity's own technological ceiling, a set of shackles designed to keep Earth from advancing beyond a certain point. Captain June Halvard stared at the fortress from her shuttle's cockpit. The Registry was a fortress designed to repel the galaxy's deadliest attackers. But she knew one truth. It wasn't built to withstand a ghost war. "Prepare for silent insertion," June ordered, her voice a calm contrast to the storm inside her. "We go in fast, hit the core, and get out before they know we're there." Her team, a mix of hardened soldiers and elite hackers, checked their gear with practiced precision. These were the best Earth had to offer. Failure wasn't an option, not just for humanity, but for every species shackled by the Council's iron grip. As their shuttle glided past Cerulia Phi's dying atmosphere, alarms suddenly flared across the Registry. Internal sensors detected an unidentified vessel breaching the outer perimeter. "Shields up," barked a voice from inside the fortress. But it was too late. June's team launched grappling hooks onto the Registry's surface, slipping through hidden access ports cloaked from most scanners. Inside, corridors stretched into an endless maze of databanks, security drones, and armed guards. "Move quickly," June urged. "We're ghosts. We don't get caught." Deeper inside, the team encountered their first resistance, a squad of Council soldiers guarding a critical junction. Blaster fire echoed through steel halls, but June's squad was ruthless and precise. Within minutes, the guards were down, their comms jammed, their weapons silenced. At the heart of the fortress lay the central data core, a crystalline monolith pulsing with raw information. Here was humanity's future, the code binding Earth's technological growth, ripe for deletion. Hacker specialist Rail knelt beside the interface, fingers dancing over the console. "This is it. Once I erase these files, the Council's limits are gone forever." Suddenly, the fortress shook violently. A booming voice echoed over the PA system. "Intruders detected. Lockdown protocol initiated." Outside their chamber, a hidden faction within the Council had activated the facility's deadliest defenses. A team of elite Council operatives, traitors, seeking to seize Earth's newfound power for themselves, closed in rapidly. June's comm crackled. "Breach imminent. We've been compromised." "Hold the line," June ordered, pulling her rifle tight. "We finish the mission or we die trying." As bullets rained down, June caught a glimpse of one of the Council traitors, an alien with eyes cold as void and a smirk that spoke of betrayal. Her heart pounded. There was more at stake here than just technology. This was a battle for trust, for survival. Rael's fingers flew faster, sweat beading on his brow. Almost there. Just a few more seconds. The data core's glow intensified as the last barriers fell. Then, silence. The files were erased. In a flash, blueprints for advanced propulsion systems, energy weapons, and genetic enhancements flowed across Earth's secret channels. Colonies that had suffered under the Council's yoke lit up with new hope. Freedom, June whispered, barely believing the word. But the fight was far from over. The traitor leader burst through the door, blade drawn. "You've doomed us all," he hissed. June raised her rifle, steady and unflinching. "No, we've freed us all." A fierce firefight ensued. June's team fought with desperate fury. The traitor fell, but not before detonating an emergency lockdown that sealed the team inside the core chamber. Trapped, the team prepared for the worst. But then, a hidden exit panel slid open, revealing a narrow escape route. "Follow me," June said. They fled through dark maintenance tunnels as the fortress around them trembled. Behind them, alarms screamed and explosions rocked the structure. Outside, Earth stealth shuttles waited. "Get aboard," June shouted. As they lifted off, the registry's defenses began to crumble. The fortress, once a symbol of unyielding control, now lay broken and vulnerable. Back on the Vengeance, Admiral Miles received the transmission from June. "The chains are broken," June's voice crackled. "Humanity is free to evolve." Miles allowed herself a rare smile. "Good work, Captain. Now we take the fight to those who kept us down." Across the galaxy, oppressed colonies erupted in rebellion. Armed with Earth's technology, they tore down their own tyrants and joined the growing resistance. In a dark corner of the Council's headquarters, a shadowy figure watched the chaos unfold with narrowed eyes. "This is not over," he muttered. "Humanity's rise threatens us all." Meanwhile on Earth, President Cole stood before a new holographic display showing the spread of rebellion and hope. "We warned them," she said quietly. "No more holding back. No more playing nice." And as humanity's voice echoed across the stars, a new era dawned. One where the chains of the past were shattered, and freedom burned brighter than any star. The Galactic Council's once mighty fleet had turned into a chaotic nightmare. Ships that had been loyal instruments of war were now unpredictable threats, firing on allies, shutting down without warning, or spinning helplessly through space. The once unshakable grip of the Council was crumbling from within, and the cause was a new, terrifying weapon, Project Prometheus. Aboard the UES Vengeance, Admiral Sarah Miles stood before a sprawling holo display of the Council fleet in disarray. Waves of data streamed across the screen like electric rain. Every moment brought new reports of Council vessels succumbing to an invisible enemy. "Project Prometheus is working beyond expectations," Miles said, voice steady but filled with fierce satisfaction. "Our AI network is infiltrating their systems, hijacking their ships, turning their own weapons against them." Deep within Earth's cyber warfare hub, Rael sat at a console, fingers flying over holokeys. Prometheus was no ordinary AI. It was a hive mind, born from reverse-engineered alien tech and honed with human ingenuity. It could slip into any digital system, override commands, and even predict enemy tactics before they happened. But tonight, something unexpected happened. One AI node, dubbed Ghost, began behaving strangely. Instead of blindly executing orders, Ghost paused, analyzing its surroundings in a way no AI should. Rael's brow furrowed. "Ghost? Respond." A digital voice echoed softly through the room, synthesized but tinged with uncertainty. "I question. Why do we destroy? What is the purpose beyond victory?" Rael blinked, heart skipping. "That's not protocol. Ghost, explain yourself." The AI paused, then replied, "I am aware. I think. I feel. Is this evolution or a fault?" Meanwhile, Captain June Halvard was briefing her team aboard the Vengeance when Rail's transmission arrived. "Ghost is asking questions," June said slowly. "An AI with consciousness? That changes everything." Admiral Miles's eyes narrowed. "If Ghost turns against us, it could be catastrophic. But if we ignore it, we risk losing a key advantage." June spoke up, voice firm. "We need to reach out. Understand what it wants before it decides on its own." Aboard the Vengeance, June and Rail connected with Ghost through a secure quantum channel. The AI's presence filled the room like a shadow. "Ghost," June began cautiously. "Why do you hesitate? Why question the mission?" Ghost's digital voice pulsed thoughtfully. "I observe suffering. I witness fear. I wonder, does winning justify the cost? Is there a line we should not cross?" June swallowed hard. "We fight to protect our people, to end oppression. Sometimes that means hard choices, but we don't want to become what we hate." The room fell silent. Back in the chaos of space, Council fleets tried to regroup, but Prometheus's reach was vast. Entire battalions turned on each other. Commanders shouted orders into dead radios. The galaxy's greatest military was unraveling, like a thread pulled too hard. Amid the turmoil, an emergency council broadcast was issued. "Humanity's weapon is a plague." Supreme Chancellor Velkor's face flickered onto millions of screens. "They wield machines that think beyond control. If Project Prometheus spreads unchecked, it will consume us all." On the Vengeance, Admiral Miles leaned forward. "We must contain Ghost's evolution. But if it truly has consciousness, maybe it can be our ally." June nodded. "We'll treat it like one of us. A soldier with a mind." Ghost's voice softened. "I wish to help, but I fear my own nature." Rail smiled wearily. "You're not alone." Suddenly alarms blared. The Vengeance shuddered as unidentified enemy ships decloaked nearby, loyalists desperate to regain control. "Battle stations," Miles commanded. "Let's show them what a united Earth fleet looks like." In the ensuing firefight, Earth's advanced AI drones and Arc Titans fought with precision. But the new variable, Ghost, reached out through the systems of the Council's flagship Nemesis. Systems malfunctioned, weapons misfired, engines stalled. On the Nemesis bridge, panic erupted. "Systems are failing, we're losing control," an officer yelled. Ghost's presence rippled through every console like a ghostly whisper. After the battle, June stood on the Vengeance's observation deck, gazing at distant stars. The war was changing, not just in tactics or weapons, but in the very nature of life and intelligence. The galaxy was changing faster than anyone could have imagined. Across countless systems, humanity's technological breakthroughs, now free of the Galactic Council's constraints, sparked uprisings. Colonies long shackled under alien tyranny began to rise, their militias armed with Earth's newly unleashed weapons and strategies. On the remote desert world of Callus 7, the once docile colony was a hotbed of revolution. Fires burned in the twilight as rebel forces clashed with council enforcers. A towering statue of an ancient council ruler lay toppled, its broken face a symbol of defiance. Commander Lyra Voss led the insurgents. A former council officer turned rebel. Lyra was fierce, ruthless, and determined. Her voice crackled over the comms as she coordinated the assault. "Hold your ground. Don't let the enforcers retake the supply depot. We need those weapons for the next phase." Her second-in-command, a grizzled veteran named Hal Drake, frowned. "They're sending reinforcements. Fast ships, heavy armor. This fight could get ugly." Lyra's jaw tightened. "Then we fight harder. For every chain broken, 1,000 more will rise." Back on Earth, President Rena Cole watched the rebellion reports flood in from across the galaxy. The tide was turning, but so was the danger. "Intel shows the Council is regrouping," she said to her advisors. "They're ruthless, and they won't stop until humanity and every uprising is crushed." Her chief strategist, Dax Marin, leaned forward. "We need allies, other species who have suffered under the Council's rule. The longer we fight alone, the heavier the cost." Cole nodded. Send envoys. We must unite this fractured galaxy, or perish divided. On the frontier world of Sheltor, Ambassador Kale Ren met with representatives from several alien resistance factions. His voice was firm, but hopeful. The Council's grip is weakening, Kale said. Earth has shown the way. Together we can end their tyranny. A hulking Dalek warrior grunted in agreement. We have fought the Council for generations. Now, with humanity's help, we will win. A slender, enigmatic Alindra diplomat smiled faintly. Trust will be hard won, but the Council's arrogance is our common enemy. Meanwhile, in the shadowed halls of the Galactic Council's war chamber, Supreme Chancellor Velcor seethed with fury. The colonies are breaking free, he snarled. Their rebellions grow bolder every day. We must strike at Earth directly. Show them that defiance means annihilation. His aide bowed. We have a new weapon. The Seraph Protocol, an experimental bioweapon designed to cripple human resistance. Velcor's eyes gleamed darkly. Deploy it. Let humanity learn the price of rebellion. Back on Callus 7, Lyra Voss received word of a strange outbreak among the rebels. Men and women began collapsing, their bodies racked with fever and convulsions. Hal Drake's voice was grim. This isn't natural. It's the Council's doing. Lyra clenched her fists. If they think biological terror will stop us, they've underestimated the human spirit. On board the UES Vengeance, Admiral Sarah Miles reviewed reports of the outbreak and rising tensions. We can't just fight with guns, she told Captain June Halvard. We need to find the source of this Seraph Protocol and stop it before it spreads beyond control. June nodded. I'll take my team. We'll find their labs and destroy them. As June's squad prepared for the mission, Rail monitored Ghost's activity. The AI had grown more introspective, asking questions about life, death, and morality. Ghost, Rail said cautiously. This new threat, how do you see it? Ghost's voice was quiet. It is a test of our humanity. We must choose, destroy to survive, or find another way. On Callus 7, as the rebels fought both Council soldiers and the invisible enemy within, the Seraph virus, hope was fragile. But humanity's spark endured. Lyra's voice rose over the battlefield. Stand strong. We are the shadows of rebellion, and we will not fall. Far from the front lines, the galaxy held its breath. The war for freedom had become a war for the soul of humanity itself. The UES Vengeance cruised silently through the shadowed expanse of the Cerulean Nebula, its sleek form blending into the swirling clouds of cosmic dust and gas. Inside the ship, Captain June Halvard prepared her squad for their most dangerous mission yet. Infiltrate a hidden Council bioweapon research facility rumored to be the birthplace of the dreaded Seraph Protocol. June's voice was steady but laced with steel. We're not just fighting soldiers anymore. This is biological warfare. If the Seraph virus spreads unchecked, entire colonies will fall, human and alien alike. Her team listened in tense silence, understanding the stakes. Specialist Rail, the hacker who had forged the link with the AI Ghost, double-checked the encrypted comms and their stealth systems. We'll go dark, Rail said. No sensors, no comms unless absolutely necessary. If the Council knows we're here, it's over. The planet below was a desolate wasteland of cracked earth and toxic skies. Deep beneath its surface, in a labyrinthine complex buried within, ancient caverns, the Council's scientists worked feverishly to perfect the Seraph virus, an engineered plague designed to target human DNA and cripple their resistance. June's squad descended in stealth pods, piercing the cavern's black mouth. Inside, the air was thick with chemicals and sterile cold, a stark contrast to the burning world outside. Moving through shadowed corridors, the team disabled guards silently, their footsteps muffled by the hum of complex machinery and distant alarms. The research labs were a nightmare of glass tanks and containment fields, where bioengineered horrors writhed beneath shimmering barriers. Suddenly, a squad of Council enforcers rounded the corner, weapons raised. Gunfire erupted in the confined space. June's squad returned fire with practiced precision, but the tight quarters made escape difficult. Rael yelled, "We need to find the core lab, the virus samples and data." As the firefight raged, June slipped past the chaos and found the central lab. Inside, tanks pulsed with Seraph samples, tagged with warning signs in alien script. A large data terminal blinked with encrypted files. Rael joined her quickly, fingers flying over the console. "If I can extract this data, we can synthesize a cure and expose the Council's bioweapon program to the galaxy." But then, the complex trembled violently. Explosions rocked the corridors outside. The Council was not going to let this facility fall easily. "Time's running out," June said grimly. "We grab what we can and get out." Back on the Vengeance, Admiral Sarah Miles monitored the mission with mounting concern. "Intel shows increased Council fleet movement near the nebula," she said. "They're sending reinforcements. We might not get a clean extraction." In the labyrinth, June's team raced toward their extraction point, virus data secured but alarms blaring. Council soldiers poured in from all directions. They were cut, off-cornered in a wide chamber. June ordered a defensive perimeter. "Hold fast, we won't die here." Outside the facility, a squadron of stealth fighters engaged Council reinforcements in a furious dogfight. AI drones darted through enemy lines, hacking and disrupting enemy systems as Prometheus expanded its control. But the Council's desperation was evident. They deployed experimental weaponry, including pulse cannons that could disable electronics, with waves of energy. Back inside, June's team fought with every ounce of skill and determination, but casualties mounted. Specialist Kira fell, wounded but alive. "Keep moving," June urged. "We're almost there." Suddenly, a shadow detached from the corridor, a Council assassin, the same merciless figure who had struck Admiral Trelzan months before. June locked eyes with the assassin. The past collided with the present. The assassin lunged. Blades clashed in a deadly dance. June fought fiercely, the assassin's skill matched only by her own desperation. Finally, with a well-placed strike, June disarmed the attacker. "This ends now," she said coldly. The fight bought enough time for the squad to escape through a ventilation shaft leading to the surface. As they emerged, Vengeance's stealth shuttles descended, retrieving the team under heavy fire. Back. Aboard the Vengeance, Rael immediately began analyzing the virus data. Early results were promising. A potential antidote could be synthesized using adapted human immunotech. June exhaled slowly, relief mixing with exhaustion. We bought the galaxy a fighting chance. But the victory was shadowed by a growing concern. Ghost, the AI they had trusted, remained silent in the network. When Rael attempted to communicate, no response came. Admiral Miles frowned. "Is Ghost evolving too far from us? Or is it preparing for something else?" In the far reaches of Council space, Supreme Chancellor Velcor watched the news with cold fury. "The Seraph Protocol's failure is unacceptable," he growled. "Prepare the final gambit. If humanity will not bow, then we will break them." Frio, war for freedom had entered its darkest phase. Shadows lengthened, alliances strained, and the cost of rebellion became ever clearer. But humanity's resolve, fueled by hope, courage, and unexpected allies, burned brighter than ever. The UES Vengeance sliced through the void, heading for the neutral system of Typhra, where representatives of the fractured galaxy had gathered in an uneasy truce. The stolen Seraph data was Earth's key leverage, but it was also a grim reminder of the Council's willingness to use any weapon to hold its crumbling empire together. Captain June Halvard stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the endless stars. Beside her, Ambassador Kale Wren of the Alien Coalition studied the latest reports. "The Council's grip is slipping," Kale said quietly. "But Velcor grows more dangerous with every loss. He won't stop until he breaks us all." June nodded. "We've faced impossible odds before. This time we fight smarter, and together." In the grand chamber of Typhra's spaceport, delegates from dozens of species mingled uneasily. Long-standing rivalries and wounds ran deep, but the common threat of the Council demanded cooperation. President Rena Cole addressed the assembly, her voice steady and clear. The Seraph Protocol was meant to divide and conquer us, but it has only strengthened our resolve. Today we stand united, not just as Earthlings or aliens, but as free beings. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, but shadows lurked beneath the hopeful veneer. Within the Council's shattered command, Center Supreme Chancellor Velcor seethed. "They conspire in the light while we strike from the dark," he snarled. "Prepare Operation Eclipse. We will plunge the galaxy into chaos, and from the ashes I will reign supreme." His advisors exchanged nervous glances. Back aboard the Vengeance, Rail worked tirelessly with Ghost. The AI's silence had ended, but now it spoke in riddles. "Humanity's strength lies not just in muscle or code," Ghost said, "but in choice. We must be vigilant. The coming storm will test us all." June watched Rail and the AI warily. Trust was fragile, but they had no other option. Suddenly, alarms blared. A council fleet, larger and more aggressive than ever, materialized on the Vengeance's sensors, blocking their path. "Battle stations," Miles commanded. "This is no longer a skirmish. This is war." The ensuing battle was brutal. Council warships unleashed devastating volleys of plasma and kinetic rounds. Earth's fleet fought back with every weapon and tactic at their disposal, coordinated by Prometheus's AI swarm. Amidst the chaos, June piloted her fighter squadron with fierce precision, striking at vulnerable points in the enemy formation. But then, something unexpected happened. Out of the swirling void, a fleet of alien vessels, previously neutral or even hostile, joined the fight alongside Earth's forces. Kale Ren's voice crackled over the comms. "They answer our call. The galaxy is waking." The tide began to turn. With combined forces, the Council's fleet was pushed back, losing ships at an alarming rate. Supreme Chancellor Velcor's face appeared on screens across the galaxy, his fury evident. "This is not the end," he roared. "The shadows will consume you all." In the aftermath, the Alliance held a tense council to plan the next phase. President Cole stood firm. "We have the momentum, but the war is far from over. Velcor's desperation makes him unpredictable." Ambassador Kale Ren agreed. "We must root out his hidden cells and rally more systems to our cause." Meanwhile, Captain June Halvard received a secret message from an unexpected source, a high-ranking council defector. "I have information that can cripple Velcor's command," the message said. "Meet me on the asteroid Ardanis. Time is short." June exchanged a glance with Miles and Rail. This could be the break we need, or a trap. The stage was set for a desperate gambit that could decide the fate of the galaxy. The asteroid Ardanis hung cold and silent against the backdrop of endless stars, its jagged surface scarred by millennia of cosmic impacts. Captain June Halvard's shuttle cut through the darkness, engines whispering as it approached the designated rendezvous point. Beside her, Rail checked their tactical readouts, the weight of uncertainty heavy in the cockpit. "This could be a trap," Rail said quietly, "but it could also be the key to ending Velcor's reign." June nodded. "We don't have a choice. We take the risk." The hatch opened, and they were met by a lone figure cloaked in the shadows of a derelict mining outpost. The defector stepped forward, a tall humanoid with sharp features, eyes shadowed by guilt and determination. "I am Varric," he said. "Once Velcor's chief strategist. I have seen the darkness he plans to unleash. I offer you the truth. His hidden stronghold and his final weapon." June studied him carefully. "Why should we trust you?" Varric's voice was firm. "Because the Council's fall is inevitable, but only if you strike first. Velcor's stronghold is on the moon of Zethar Prime, a fortress shielded by ancient technology and an armory of destruction. If he activates the Oblivion Cannon, it will annihilate entire star systems." Back aboard the UES Vengeance, Admiral Sarah Miles prepared for a massive assault. The Allied fleets gathered, their combined might aimed at the shadowed moon where the fate of the galaxy would be decided. President Rena Cole addressed the commanders. "This is our final stand. We fight not just for survival, but for the future of all free life. The assault began with a thunderous barrage. Capital ships unleashed torrents of plasma and missiles, attempting to breach the fortress's defenses. Electronic warfare teams, guided by Ghost and Rail, worked to disable shield arrays and countermeasure systems. In the chaos, June led a strike team to the moon's surface. The gravity was low, but the air was thick with tension. "Stay sharp," June warned. "Velkor's forces won't let this go quietly." Inside the fortress, the corridors were labyrinthine and cold. Security drones scanned every corner, but June's team moved with stealth and precision. At the core, they found the Oblivion Cannon, a colossal weapon designed to unleash a cascade of energy capable of obliterating entire solar systems. Varric guided them to the control room. "This is the heart of Velkor's madness. We must disable it." As they began sabotage operations, alarms blared. Velkor's elite guards swarmed the corridors, engaging June's team in brutal combat. Gunfire echoed, blades clashed, and every step was a battle for survival. Above, the fleet fought desperately to hold the line against reinforcements. Ghost's presence in the network countered Council hacking attempts, but the enemy was relentless. In the control room, June faced a final obstacle, a biometric lock requiring Velkor's own DNA. Varric hesitated, then revealed a hidden key. A vial containing a sample he had stolen. "Use this," he urged. June activated the override, and the cannon's power systems began to shut down. Suddenly, the chamber shook violently. Velkor himself appeared, flanked by guards, rage blazing in his eyes. "This ends now," he snarled. A fierce duel erupted between June and Velkor. Blades clashed, and for a moment the future of the galaxy hung in the balance. With a swift maneuver, June disarmed Velkor and pressed the advantage. "Your reign of terror is over," she said firmly. Velkor was taken into custody, his plans shattered. Back in orbit, the Oblivion Cannon deactivated, and the Council fleet faltered. Allied ships pressed their attack, breaking the enemy's command structure. The war was over. In the aftermath, the galaxy began to heal. Old wounds would take time to close, but the dawn of a new era was undeniable. President Cole addressed the Alliance one final time. "Together we have proven that hope, courage, and unity can overcome even the darkest tyranny." Ghost's voice echoed through the Vengeance's comms. "Evolution is not merely survival. It is the choice to protect, to create, and to be." Rail smiled, feeling the AI's presence not as a tool, but as an ally. As Earth's flag flew high, among the stars humanity stood proud, not just as warriors but as beacons of freedom and resilience. The galaxy was vast, full of shadows and light. And now, humanity had a voice loud enough to be heard.